Entrepreneurship is a mirror, and you will meet yourself as your edges. I'm sure you started for more freedom, but along the way, you got just personal development at very, very high speed. Most creators will be broken by their business before they see success. But the part of you that will break is the one designed for survival and not for expansion. After years of working in nervous system coaching and as a growth marketer, here are the two things I would have treasured to hear when I started and when I dissolved my first business. So, the first thing is that business requires a growth state and not a survival state. So we hear a lot about growth mindset and having a growth approach, but physiologically, growth is not just a strategic concept, it's not a mindset only, it's really a physiological state. And most of us approach entrepreneurship with bodies that are trained for survival. What I mean by that is that these are bodies that are trained to minimize risk, to avoid rejection, because as human beings we have a need for belonging, so we fear rejection for a really good reason. We want to maintain control, we want to feel safe and secure. It's a wiring that makes sense, it is biological. The issue is that having a business will ask you to do things that directly contradict survival mode. It will ask you to be visible, to risk criticism, to say things online that are polarizing, to invest without guaranteed outcomes. You will work and you won't know if it's going to work, to take bold actions before you feel ready. That's a bit the game, right? Isn't it? And sometimes to even fail publicly or to feel like you're failing publicly. And if your physiology, if your body equates this uncertainty with danger, these actions that are not going to feel expensive at all, they are going to feel threatening. How do you know if these actions feel threatening to your body? You will see that you will freeze, you will procrastinate, you will overthink. Instead of just publishing the YouTube video, you will take like hours and become very perfectionist, or you will reschedule it to the next week, or you will do other things that are not that important just to feel like you're working, but you're actually not really doing the things that matter, right? And this is not because you're incapable, it's just because your nervous system and your body is basically wired to protect you and is not in an expansion mode, is in a protection mode. And to understand that, it's a little bit like having two different movements. Protection is one movement, expansion is another one. They are completely opposite. One contracts, the protection is all about, I need to be safe, I need to protect. The other opens. If you think about it in terms of money, one invests, the other save. These are completely different movements. It's not that one is better than the other. It's just that business will ask you to use the expansion mode much more. So if you ask a body that is trained for contraction to expand, it doesn't come that easily. You will need to find a way to switch from survival to expansion. You have to find a way to rewire your body for another paradigm, and a paradigm of expansion. The second thing I would have loved to hear back then was that entrepreneurship is a process of relearning everything. It's not just about building revenue, it's really about unlearning. School trained us to get good grades, to do the right thing, to have the right answer, to never make a mistake, to follow the instructions, to aim for some kind of very clear path, to know what you're doing. This is the opposite. Like entrepreneurship is all about trying without knowing if it's going to work. It's about taking actions before you know the right answer. There is literally not really a right answer, just things that are going to work and you must act. It's not about being right. And then there is the society that encourage you to be realistic. For a lot of us, we learn to be realistic, not to aim too high, to be happy with something that feels safe, that feels stable, that maybe wanting more is dangerous, or that ambition could lead to exposure or disappointment. It depends a little bit of your surrounding, your culture, the people around you. But you learn different behaviors, different beliefs that are not really helpful. They are the opposite, they're not helpful. And the business you're building is not operating within this paradigm. Again, it requires expansion and audacity. It requires, for example, the capacity to believe in your vision enough and long enough before you get a proof. That's the total opposite of what you learn at school, right? So you need to invest in the unknown, and you need to be able to tolerate the uncertainty, because the uncertainty is also part of this process. So if you feel like entrepreneurship is breaking you, I would say it's true, but it's just breaking this part of you, this conditioning, and this nervous system that is wired for protection. It is destroying you, but not you, the whole you, just a version of you that was trained, that was encouraged in one direction. And this version of you is not basically wired for entrepreneurship. That's the truth. So it will feel dismantling. There is no way around it. And the more resilient your nervous system is, the more it's going to be easy to have this capacity to change the narrative, to change the belief systems, to change the way your brain reacts, to change your relationship with risk, with exposure, with visibility, with everything that is important for you. Quick example, so it makes it, I guess, clearer. For example, so I started this YouTube channel not long ago. It's a very, very young YouTube channel. And I don't think my nervous system was ready for that, because I've never tried before. That's just something to remember. When it's the first time you do something, you don't have the skills. You don't have the technical skills, but you also don't have the system to support you in that. So everything was stressful because I had to learn a lot of things, and I was actually afraid of making mistakes, because that's my conditioning. I went to school like you did, and I wanted to do things perfectly, which is not possible, especially on YouTube, because there are so many components. You need to get the right light, you need to get the right microphone, you need to know your text and find a way to look a little bit chill in front of a camera while you're just talking to a camera, which feels extremely weird. For the nervous system, it feels like exposure. Of course, you put yourself on this platform and you see your face. So it took a bit of time to help my nervous system feel safe in this process. But the moment I was able to feel safe, I just started to find it funny, to find it playful. I was just able at some point to rewire my body and my nervous system, and this activity now doesn't feel threatening anymore. It just feels like, oh, okay, cool. That's a good way to connect. It's a good way to connect. It's a total different approach. You see the safety in it. Connection is about safety, and it's about expansion. So what is the conclusion? Growth must become safe. You cannot out-strategize a nervous system wired for protection. Why do I say that? Because we hear a lot about business strategy, marketing strategy, and I studied growth marketing. I love strategy. I really love that. However, there is always someone behind the strategy. And this someone has a nervous system. And this someone was educated, learned about life, and has belief system about the reality and what is good and what is dangerous and what is not. So the strategy will be influenced by the person in charge of the strategy, and this person will be influenced by the wiring of the nervous system. Is it about expansion or is it about protection? And you can see that in the strategy. Also, if you, it's very funny, if you analyze the marketing funnels, you can see like where the nervous system feels unsafe, because everything you see outside is like a mirror of how you feel inside. So yes, strategy is important if you focus only on that without just taking into account that you're a human being, and that your body wants you to be alive. Just that, it's going to feel difficult. Growth is going to feel difficult. Marketing is going to be difficult. Visibility is going to feel awful because it's going to feel like a threat to your nervous system. And you need to find a way, whatever the way is, to rewire your system and to change paradigm, to switch from protection to expansion. If you don't find it, you're out, because it's going to be too much. Thank you for watching, and I'll let you see another video will appear here. I talk about the growth mindset in more details. It's really also about the physiology of the growth mindset. It's not about really the mindset, but more about how your physiology can help you experiment a growth state that is more like an emerging property and not just a decision. I don't really like the decisions. I prefer to work with the body. Have a nice day.